For years, you've heard the same story. There aren't enough cybersecurity people. Millions of unfilled jobs sit empty every year. It's a major talent shortage. Well, SANS just released their 2026 workforce report. 947 organizations worldwide participated, and the data says that this story's wrong. It's not a headcount problem anymore because, of course, we have AI, but it's a capability problem. Organizations have people, but those people don't have the right skills. And 27% of organizations now report breaches directly linked to those skill gaps. So let that sink in. More than 1 in 4 breaches trace back not to some zero day, but to what the team didn't know. Stick around because I'll tell you what this means for your program and what to do about it. Here's the headline. For the first time in this report's 3-year history, skills gaps overtook staffing shortages as the industry's #1 workforce challenge. When SANS asked organizations to choose between not having the right staff and not enough staff, 60% said the skills gap is the bigger problem. That gap was just 4 points a year ago. Now it's 20. And I'll tell you from experience, when I was a CISO at a Silicon Valley startup, my hardest problem was never the empty seat. It was making sure the people in the seats could actually handle what was coming at us. Rob T. Lee at SANS put it well. Organizations have people, but those people are overwhelmed, under-resourced, and too busy running today's operations to build tomorrow's skills. Stop counting open positions and start investing in the people that you already have. Now, everyone wants to blame AI or credit AI. And here's what the data actually says. 74% of cyber teams say AI is changing team sizes and role structures. AI is cutting manual analysis time about in half, but only 16% report actual workforce reduction because of this. So no, AI is not replacing your security team. It's reshaping it. Here's the part that worries me. The roles shrinking fastest are entry-level SOC analysts, down 32%. Threat intel analysts, 26%. Incident responders, 22%. Those roles are the training ground for this industry. That's actually, I didn't come up in that role, but a lot of people did. I came up from networking and IT, which has a lot of overlap with cybersecurity. But I was surprised. I was at a local ISSA meeting and I spoke to somebody that worked at a SOC. And the thing that really surprised me is he said, we don't hire people that don't have experience. And to me, being a SOC analyst, I mean, that's like entry-level position. That's the perfect place to learn. And it was very disheartening when he said that. He's just like, well, we don't have time to be training people. And that's the problem. It's a major problem. And one of the things I did want to talk about is there are lots of different internship and apprenticeship programs. And a lot of times you can get paid not only for your training, but also there may be a grant and your apprenticeship, like the business doesn't even have to pay. for the apprentice or the intern. So you get that extra helping hand as a business owner, and that specific person, intern, they get to learn. The other thing you can do is just reach out and volunteer to work with a particular company. If you don't have a job and you want to get, or you're in school and you want to get some actual hands-on experience. So here's the number that jumped right off the page for me as someone who lives in GRC, that's governance, risk, and compliance. Regulatory influence on hiring went from 40% to 95% in 1 year. 95%. Organizations needing brand new specialist roles jumped from 23% to 53%. This isn't mild compliance adjustment. Companies are building entirely new positions and restructuring teams around frameworks like NIST and DORA, GDPR, CMMC, because the enforcement consequences are real. And 56% of organizations now use structured frameworks like NIST, ECSF to define security roles. Certifications are the top way organizations validate skills. 64% use them as their primary method. In regulated sectors, a certification isn't just a credential anymore. It's an auditable compliance artifact. So, for example, recently I was asked to be the lead assessor on a FedRAMP project. Well, you have to have your ISC squared, CISSP in order to do that role. So, what does the skills gap actually cost? The report is blunt. 57% report delayed projects. 47% report increased burnout. 47% report slower incident response. 42% can't adopt new technologies. 42% report reduced monitoring capability. And 27% report actual breaches tied to skills gaps. Now, this is what I see with AI. What I see is it's helping us. I mean, we already had a 2.8 million gap in cybersecurity, the workforce. And I see AI helping us because we have, well, most companies have a SIM, for example, but being able to look at that data, take the time. Only a really large company is going to have somebody that has a job. So like when I worked at Cisco, there were audit logging teams that all they did was review logs all day. Small companies, they can't do that. You need to get an alert. And that is where AI is helping us. But at the same time, we're getting help from AI, we're also getting hurt. Because, for example, you could use AI to hack a password, but the attackers are doing the same thing. And everybody's talked about Mythos, where it's actually has found vulnerabilities that nobody knows about. So there's a lot going on with AI. But I see AI as a companion, as to help us to do better in cybersecurity and actually defend from these threats. So here's what I do with this report, practitioner to practitioner. 1, audit capability, not headcount. Map your team's actual skills against your real threat model. The report says only 19% of teams are fully skilled. Find your gaps before an attacker does. 2, protect your pipeline. Don't gut entry-level roles because AI made triaging cheaper. Redirect those people into mentorship, rotations, and hands-on training. That's your bench for the next decade. 3. Govern AI before you scale it. 54% of organizations have AI security policies, but only 30% do comprehensive training. And how many are actually have some sort of inventory of AI being used at their company? And 24% have no AI governance plan at all. Deploy first, govern later. That's how you end up on the front page. 4, give people a career path. Only 24% of organizations have clearly defined career paths, and unclear paths as a hiring challenge more than tripled in a year. 9% to 32%. Burnout and unclear futures are why your best people leave. This is exactly why I say security has to be built in from the ground up, into your people, not just your tooling. Compliance checkboxes don't stop breaches. Capable teams, defense in depth do. Capable teams and defense in depth does. Bottom line, the war for talent is over. The war for capability has started. The organizations that win won't be the ones with the most open recs. They'll be the ones investing in the people that they already have. If you want a roadmap for building that kind of resilient, capability-driven program, that's exactly what I wrote my book for, A CISO Guide to Cyber Resilience. The link is in the description. And if you're wrestling with skills gap of your team, if you're wrestling with the skills gap on your team and want to talk through it, you can book some time with me and we can talk about it. So thanks so much. I'm going to have a link to the SANS 2026 workforce report below in the description. Thanks for watching. Stay secure and cyber resilient. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to pick up a copy of my book, A CISO Guide to Cyber Resilience, available on Amazon. And remember to stay cyber resilient.